Hello again. Happy and blessed late Saturday afternoon, local time from Metro Manila, the Philippines, Southeastern Asia. I still continue my brief series of videos on the Freemasonic US presidency, um, as told in William A. de Gregorio's classical work, The Complete Book of US Presidents, 1993 edition, was James Garfield. He, of course, is known as one of the four assassinated US presidents. He was fatally shot by a disappointed and mentally unbalanced, even insane office seeker, Charles Guiteau, or should we say Charles Guiteau, in July 1881, just 4 months after his inauguration, when he was strolling through, President Garfield was strolling through, um, I think, the largest train station or railway station in Washington, D.C., in order to go on a holiday. He was fatally shot. He lingered for about 2.5 more months before finally dying in great pain. And the reason why I was surprised to find his name on this list, both on the Business Insider website and on the uh, Masonic Dictionary website, was that I got the impression that he was one of the most spiritually devout Christian presidents of the United States, at least in the 19th century. As a young man, he even worked for some time as a lay preacher after having received believers' baptism into the Disciples of Christ church, which is now known as the Christian Church. Back in the 19th and probably early 20th centuries, it was a lot more evangelical church than now, at least according to Wikipedia. It's now classified as a mainline Protestant church. And interestingly enough, the late US President Ronald Reagan was baptized into that church aged 11 in 1922. And then also William A. de Gregorio, based on the biographical sources that he had himself reviewed about Garfield, told that Garfield really was concerned about getting closer to God. And he was bothered by occasionally having unclean thoughts and sometimes feeling unable to get closer to God. And he concluded that Christians had to constantly practice their faith in order for it to grow. So, what exactly made him join the Freemasonic organization is a mystery to me. Garfield only served a few months of his presidency, 6.5 months altogether, but for 2.5 months, because of his severe and ultimately fatal wounds, he was unable to govern the country. He had a lengthier tenure in the Freemasons. According to the proceedings of the Grand Lodge of Kentucky, he was initiated in Magnolia Lodge, number 20, Columbus, Ohio, on November the 19th, passed December the 3rd, 1861. Interestingly enough, the year when the U.S. Civil War officially began, and raised on December the 22nd, 1864. He also received the capitular and temporal degrees and those of the Lodge of Perfection in the Scottish Rite. Let's see if the Masonic Dictionary has anything to add to that information. He joined Garrettsville Lodge, number 246 in Garrettsville, Ohio, on October the 10th, 1866, serving as chaplain in 1868 and 1869, probably because of his sincere and open Christian beliefs. However, the problem with those who are deeply committed Christians to keep attending those lodge sessions is that although there are ritual religious are forbidden, or at least discouraged from praying in the name of Jesus, for example. According to a quote that I remember from a book written by the retired operations manager of the Evangelical, Charismatic, and Interdenominational Patmos Missions Foundation in Finland, Mr. Leo Meller. That was written in the 1990s. I think the title in English is The Freemasons' Secret Doctrines or something like that. So on May the 4th, 1869, the late President Garfield, who then, of course, was not yet president, became a charter member of Pentalpha Lodge number 23 in Washington, D.C. And in that city, the U.S. Capitol, he was exalted in Columbia chapter number 1 on April the 18th, 1866, received the Templar degrees on May the 18th, 1866 in Columbia Commandery number 2, and the 14th degree Scottish Rite on January the 2nd, 1872. The degrees from the 6th to the 13th were communicated to him by Albert Pike, Sovereign Grand Commander of the Rite for the Southern Jurisdiction. And just 2.5 weeks or 17 days after his assassination or his fatal wounds in the assassination attempt that proved successful, he was made an honorary member of Hanselman Commandery number 16th in Cincinnati, Ohio. He was buried in the presence of a large number of Cementers and other Masonic bodies. This brief entry concerning him in the Masonic dictionary, however, does not give a clear answer to the question of whether he actually was buried according to the Masonic rites.